Hi, everyone. This is Travis.
Hi, this is Jonathan.
And we'd love to welcome you to the 100 Ways to Love a Cat podcast.
That's the podcast that eventually plays the song 100 Ways to Love a Cat.
And we'll be playing that very soon. But first, I'm excited to hear... are you okay?
I fell.
What'd you do?
I'm sorry, I knocked over this stack of cassette tapes.
Oh, well, that's what... Cassette tape, that's what I was going to say. If you... Last week...
Was our 30th...
It was our 30th. This is 31. But you said that you had a surprise, which I assumed was either Dr. J tape, but you said it isn't.
Mr.
And you said
J.
it was not... Oh, excuse me. Mr. J's. And you said it wasn't. And you said it was not Fuzz Whistle.
Right. It's not Rolo Hole. It's not Treetop Hustlers.
Mm-hmm. So I was at a loss because I know those are things that you used to like to play a great deal of years ago. So I don't know what it is, but you said today's the day. We're going to find out what this mystery tape is. I'm excited to find out. So do your worst, Jonathan. We're all waiting.
It is fun
to
celebrate anniversaries.
It is.
And to look back over the years in a sort of... Do you have your yearbooks from school?
Somewhere in a box. Somewhere my parents may have. I don't have them on hand.
What do you do if you need to look at your yearbook?
It doesn't come up very often. I don't. I'll be honest. There's a lot of people in high school who I had completely forgotten until Facebook, and then so I see them, all the time. And I don't necessarily need to go. I mean, on the computer, not face to face, but I mean, it's the same as a yearbook. It's a picture. It's just picture in words, and that's what the Facebook is. And so I see all those people. I don't see the need to go back and dig the books out. Books, all of print, really, is kind of meaningless and useless in this day and age. I think, and for the better. I think it's time to move on beyond books and pages, and save some trees. We can do it all here with the computer. You can do it all on your phone. I mean, there's just no need for books, I don't think. Yearbooks or any kind of book for that matter. And I know what you're going to say, novels, great works, but there are books on tapes. There are so many books on tape. If you want to, like Moby Dick, you can get that on a tape. There is no reason to just take up shelf space,
Let me ask you, I don't understand what you're saying. I get the part about the great works, like we don't need those anymore, but
sure.
What if you want to look up a picture of your friends from high school, like Connie or Jessica or Tiffany or Denise?
I don't know them, but if I did know them and they were friends in high school, I could simply get on Facebook, click a button, click their name, type their name in, and there they are. And like, oh, okay. First off, I don't necessarily have to stay friends with I know it's a good thing, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I don't necessarily need to keep up with everyone I went to high school with. Me personally, I don't. Some people may need to do that, and that's so be it. If your other classmates from years ago don't mind, then that's fine. But it's just not necessary for me. I don't see the reason for it.
I guess, but when you look at their picture on Facebook, don't they see that you looked at it, and don't they say, "Hey, what's up? Here's how I feel about politics."
I know Facebook pretty well because it's been around for a while, but I think you have to poke for them to know that you looked, or you poke it, the picture, and they know. Oh, look at there! Jonathan was looking at this picture today.
Here's what I do. Mm-hmm. When I'm feeling down or lonely or just in a weird place, I pull down all my yearbooks and I get a cup of hot chocolate and maybe I pour a little something in there to warm me up even more or to help me sleep. And I just page through and I see this is when things were simple. You could fall asleep in the back of the car and your mom or your dad, if you were staying with him, would get you home safely, and you could call up Jessica or Denise or Connie or any of your best friends, and they were always there for you. And if they had the time, sometimes they weren't, that's neither here nor there. Let bygones be bygones.
Memories in general, good and bad.
I just like memories. I like living in the past. I like nostalgia. I like thinking of simpler times when everyone wore bulkier sweaters. That's what I like. And I don't see how you get that from the computer, which is things I don't like.
Everything you mentioned is something that you like, and that's wonderful. That's great that you have those yearbooks and you can do that, and I don't see anything wrong with that. But I'm more of a forward kind of person.
I can tell with all the poking and here's what I just looked at.
Right, but that's Facebook. I don't have any control over that. That's just how that works. But I like to know, instead of looking at the past, I want to look at tomorrow. I want to see the future. I want to know. I'm looking forward to something that's going to.
How do you look at tomorrow?
Well, I'm a great deal of science fiction. And I think a lot of these science fiction, not all of them, certainly not all of them. Some of them are just terrible. But you can get some science fiction. There's all sorts of science fiction books that you can get on tape. Oh. And some of them, and not all of it's good in the future. I definitely say that. There's a lot of bad as far as computers and robots and those sort of things. That never seems to turn out good. So it probably won't. But, when we deal with that, we'll deal with that. But do you remember Star Trek? Do you remember the old one? Not this horrible, whatever it is they have on and had on in the 90s. That stuff, that was not what Star Trek was to me.
I remember the old one, the bald guy and his friends.
No. The real old one, the first one. The first Star Trek that had the doctor and the alien and the captain
and the bald.
No. I did not like that one. That one was too complicated. That one they just look at us.
Difference?
Well, the difference is that the old ones had such a positive spin on how we were going to be living in space, and it just seems so exciting. Sure, you run into some future Nazis, or occasionally a weird cowboy town or something like that. But other than that, when you're just living in the future and living in space like that, and how clean it is in space, and how they keep everything so tidy, everyone gets along for the most part. The advances in medical knowledge, it's just a positive spin, and that's the kind of tomorrow that I like to look towards, the real old Star Treks where they lived in space.
How many cowboy towns did they come across?
I think maybe one. I don't. It was on. I don't know if I've seen every episode. I've seen a few.
That's interesting because it's the future versus the past.
Well, you come across because so they say history repeats itself. That and in space, evidently it does. Not every week, but maybe every other week.
Those are good points. If you look at it like that, I see where you're coming from. The future, going forward.
Sure.
Star Trek's.
So what, forgive me for asking, but what is on this mysterious tape? Is it a yearbook tape? I don't even know what that would be.
The thing is, we keep getting distracted and we keep talking about other things. And I feel like this is something I really need to hit hard right at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Because I was kind of going there, and then it's just so.
Well, let's.
It's so much fun to talk about these things.
Sure. And we need to get to the song. This is what we're really here for. It's always listening to a mystery tape is an extra added bonus.
I thought it was going to be a fun treat for our 30th anniversary episode show, and then we're already one past that. So, another one, it's not going to hurt.
Sure. I'm excited.
I don't want it to get lost in all this stuff about, Facebook is great. I love Facebook.
I understand.
I'm on Facebook 100% of the time. That's going to... I don't want that to be what this is about. This is a mystery tape, and it's about that.
Okay. And that's totally understandable, and that's what we'll do at the beginning of next week. But for now,
It's like a cliffhanger. We don't get to do those.
I understand.
often.
Well, it was a cliffhanger last week, and this was supposed to be. But
this is even more of a cliffhanger because you have a cliffhanger and you think, okay, well, tune in next week.
Absolutely.
And then you tune in next week. It's like, oh, sorry, another one. And you're like, okay, that was. Well, I didn't see that coming.
Usually, how it works is it's a different cliffhanger. The old series, there's something else would happen, like he would be falling off the cliff last week, and then this week he's on fire.
Yeah, but if you can stretch out that first cliff, it's a lot less work.
Oh, to each his own. I'm excited to find out what the tape is like. We'll listen to it next week. Looking forward to it. But for now, what I'd like to listen to, and what we can listen to, and this is certainly not a cliffhanger of any kind, is the song 100 Ways to Love a Cat.
There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 1, keep a tidy house for them, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 2, be sure to clip their claws, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 3, scoop their box daily, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 4, brush them with a hairbrush, 100 loving ways. 100 loving ways, 100 loving ways, 100 loving ways, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 5, don't squeeze their paws hard, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 6, give them some fresh water, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 7, let them have a fish, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 8, buy them a scratching post, 100 loving ways. 100 loving ways, 100 loving ways, 100 loving ways, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 9, put them in your lap, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 10, be quiet when they're sleeping, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 11, whisper, I love you, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 12, rub their soft belly, 100 loving ways. 100 loving ways, 100 loving ways, 100 loving ways, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 13. Make sure their tail is clean. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 14. Give them a yarn ball. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 15. Make them a nice bed. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 16. Buy him some catnip. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 17. Play them some music. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 18. Get them a cute collar. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 19. Make sure they're vaccinated. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 20. Take their picture. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 21. Brush their teeth. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 22. Let them watch TV. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 23. Don't let them be outside by themselves. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 24. Feed them some cat food. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 25. Make sure their eyes are clean. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 26. Put a liner in their box. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 27. Give them a mat to wipe their feet on. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 28. Don't forget them on Christmas. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 29. Make sure they're spayed or neutered. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 30. Hold them like a baby. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 31. Let them have a towel or blanket. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 32. Keep your toilet lid down. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 33. Don't let them chew on power cords. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 34. Set them by the window. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 35. Cat-proof your home. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 36. Change their litter weekly. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 37. Praise them lavishly. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 38. Never feed him chicken bones. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 39. Teach them a funny trick. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 40. Give them a toy mouse. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 41. Clean up their hairballs. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 42. Keep them away from candles. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 43. Give him a separate zone. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 44. Never play with them aggressively. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 45. Increase his cuddle time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 46. Be sure to watch his weight. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 47. If you leave, turn on the radio. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 48. Scold him firmly but with kindness. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 49. Respond when he meows. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 50. Give them a thing of cat grass. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 51. Scratch under his chin. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 52. Remind him that you love him. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 53. Give them a box to play in. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 54. If they're old, help them get down. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 55. Let them lick you with their rough tongue. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 56. Record precious memories. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 57. Dress them up in ribbons. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 58. Give them a flea treatment. 100 loving ways. There There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 59. Make a vet appointment. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 60. Give them a little wet food. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 61. When they scratch you, don't get angry. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 62. Give them some private time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 63. Treat them with respect. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 64. When he grooms himself, say good job. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 65. Let them chase a laser pointer. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 66. Clean out their ears. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 67. Never smoke around them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 68. Buy a sturdy cat carrier. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 69. Listen to them purr. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 70. Tempted by temptations. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 71. Give them your full attention. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 72. Don't trap them in the laundry basket. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 73. Let them sleep in bed with you. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 74. Make sure they're not locked in the closet. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 75. Don't let them play in plastic bags. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 76. Give them a massage. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 77. Touch him as you pass by. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 78. If he's on the couch, don't be mad. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 79. If they hate fans, turn the fan off. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 80. When there's a bird outside, say, hey, look. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 81. Intrigue them with a funny sound. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 82. Don't forget sardine time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 83. Let him play with your old socks. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 84. Stroke in the direction that his fur goes. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 85. Admire his long whiskers. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 86. Keep his box away from his food. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 87. Pretend that he's a piano. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 88. Don't interrupt them while they're eating. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 89. When they're scared, go and comfort them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 90. Let him have a lick. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 91. If their breath stinks, give them greenies. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 92. Give him a ball with a bell in it. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 93. If it's hot, put ice in their bowl. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 94. Let him drink out of the sink. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 95. Don't vacuum if it scares him. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 96. Draw a picture of him. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 97. If you drop some food, it's theirs now. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 98. Read him a book. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 99. Feed him again. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 100. Just love them every day. 100 loving ways. 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 100 ways to love. To love, to love, to love. Okay. 100 ways to love a cat.
Oh, I feel so much better now. I got it in. You know, I'm anxious every week when I haven't heard it, and I want to hear it again. And
I get nervous,
and then I do. Well, I mean, beforehand, you feel better now, though, right?
Yeah, I feel focused and centered,
yes.
and like everything's fallen into place.
Absolutely, that's how I feel, and I hope our listeners feel the same way when they hear the song. I can't think of any other reason why you would come back if you didn't. So we're grateful to have you. And we'll be grateful to have you next week as well, because this is the end, so this would be the cliffhanger, right?
Right.
Okay,
somebody's holding on to that cliff, and they can't.
Right.
They can't scramble up it fast
They were
enough.
hanging on last week, and then this week we're still hanging on. And then eventually we're going to pull ourselves up and listen to a tape, a cassette tape. Is that correct?
Well, you know, it is a cassette tape. That is correct. It's the anticipation that makes anything worth it. Like, I'm going to eat a food. I'm going to go to a restaurant and order my favorite food. Can't wait. The waiter takes your order. Oh, this is so exciting. Goes back. The chef makes it up. You're sitting there. Maybe they left a menu for you to look at. Like, oh, I could try that next time, but I won't. I like this. What's coming? I can't wait. Mm-hmm. And then they bring it out, and they sit in front of you like, you just want to stretch that out so long. Like, oh, I'm going to take a little bite of this, but I'm going to drag it and go real slow up to my mouth. Fork. Real slow. Slow fork. And then you take a bite. Well, it's over now.
Mm. If I'm hungry, like if I'm really hungry, when the waiter takes a long time, I don't like that. Where's my food? You know, there's a certain.
Well, I wouldn't want it to be like an hour later.
That's what, at the most 20 minutes at the most. And if it is going to be 20 minutes, then you get a salad, or you get, there's something else there, to breadsticks,
a bowl of French dressing and a breadstick.
Sure. Then you're set. You're okay. But
yeah, I don't even eat the real food after that.
Sometimes I don't, but I'm still grateful to get it when it comes.
I've gone in and just said, give me a roll and the French dressing, and I'm happy.
And you save a little bit of scratch doing that too, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. It depends on what restaurant you're going to.
Yeah, some of them they're on to you.
Yeah, they catch on. All right, so next week, mystery tape. We can't thank you enough for listening this week. We'll also, as well as a mystery tape, don't worry for those of you who just want to hear 100 Ways to Love a Cat. We're definitely going to be playing that. That's never going to be a cliffhanger. That's never going to be a surprise. You will always hear that.
Every episode.
Yes, you will. Without a doubt, that will happen, but this will be a little extra bonus. So I'm looking forward to next week, and hope you are too. Thanks so much for listening.